And I love using the line all the time, do you want to list your house for sale or do you want to sell it? If you want to list it, please don't hire me. If you want to sell it, pack your stuff and get out, because I'm going to get it done for you. I don't see any reason why a full-time agent here on the island, with the average prices we deal with, can't do $100,000 a year in commissions. If you add value and you bring value to the table, people are going to bitch all they want, but you know what? You can go to bed with a clean conscience.
Right. And like I know, like whenever I do videos, I try to give a lot of information. And then sometimes I have people come back to me and they say, well, you're telling them all your secrets. What do you leave out?
They're not secrets.
I'm like, it's not a secret. Like, if they want to list their own house, go right ahead, list your house.
Right.
Go ahead, just do it. If you're going to do it yourself, just go right ahead and do it. Here, I'll give you some tools. I'll tell you everything I can tell you about doing it. And then you're going to realize that it's a full-time fucking job. And then you're going to want to pay somebody to do it. And then
I made a call last week.
It's going to be me, hopefully.
Woman lead comes in. I follow up with her within a half hour or so because I just happened to be at the phone. And I was churning calls. And I actually put the post up.
Yeah, that was the
57
one I saw.
some odd calls. Yeah, exactly. So I have the conversation with this woman and she says, well, we get to the listing process on our house, and she lives in Fresh Meadows. I know Fresh Meadows. That's where I was born. I haven't been there in probably 25 years, but I still know enough about it. She says, well, most of what's happening in this area around me, and as she's saying it, I'm looking on MLS and I'm pulling up a history of map around it. A lot of private sales. I'm good with that. Listen, here's what I'm going to do. I think I'm the perfect solution to your problem. I don't think you realize you have a problem yet. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you everything that I would use to study your market myself to come pitch to work for you. What do you mean? I'm going to send you every property in the area that's sold in the last 6 months, every property that listed, every price reduction, every expired listing, so you know exactly what you're dealing with. And then you can price your house accordingly and go have your own open house. As a matter of fact, I'll send you my open house materials, all the other stuff that I get from list reports. I'll give you the whole thing. I just want to work with you on the buy side. If you need me, I'm a resource. I don't want a penny for anything on that side of the deal. It turned into a conversation of, well, my sister's going to be moving out to the same place as me, and mom and dad are probably going to move in with my sister. So there's her purchase, the sister's purchase, which will now be a bigger house because it's a mother-daughter, and 3 potential houses to sell over there.
Right.
Someone on the other end most likely is not going to succeed. And you know what? I want the opportunity to go interview for the job.
Yeah.
She was like, why would you do that? Well, you had a problem, right? Yeah, I have a solution, but you don't get paid on that. When I do my job well, I always get paid. I believe in karma. I'm going to do the right thing, and you know what? Opportunities will come from that. You just told me about your sister, who would have never found me in a million years. How much of a house is your sister going to buy? Somewhere between $700,000 and $800,000. Do you think that's not going to make my day? So I looked at it and I added up the numbers.
The average house.
Yeah, I looked at it and I said, okay, let's do the math. I potentially could get 8 or 9 transactions out of this, and at a minimum have a positive impact on 10 families, 3 houses, 2 buyers, buyer and a seller from each. That gets me 10 houses closer to my list of 10,000 in 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. I don't have to. Every one of those 10,000 doesn't have to be one that gives me a check. I'm good with it. I get a homeless guy off the street. Check. There's another one.
Yeah.
But that's where it comes back to the whole core values and the vision and the mission of the companies. I'd like to do something about the homeless, and every time I get one of them off the street, check. That's another one that I helped. I don't have to get paid for everything. That's not the way it works, at least in my head.
It's good if you're looking for a house, look at me, you know what I mean? I do a lot of postings of closings and stuff like that, and I want people to think, wow, she's busy. She's busy doing loans. You try not to make it about you try to make it about the people. And in this post, it was about somebody else sharing her success. You know what I mean? So it was somebody else sharing it, and it was her success. Because I always try to like think it out. Like if I was looking for a house, what would I be looking for? I would want to know somebody's busy. I would want to know somebody's doing business and learn how to coach one time that said people's perception is reality. Like, that's their reality.
Yeah.
And so
And that's why the AdWorks thing works. It's not a lead generation tool. It's a brand awareness tool. And brand
The concept of a park bench.
Exactly.
See that person's face. It's
Yeah.
the same thing.
Right, no
And you
one's
can't
just an
always
online
track
billboard.
something like that.
That's all they are.
So where is the place that they got your phone number from and then made the phone call?
That's harder and harder.
That's,
So-
listen, I'm not downing, I'm not
Yeah.
downing the impressions and being out there and being seen and everything. But when it came to them saying, okay, now I want to buy a house or I have to sell my house, let me get in touch with, what do? Do they say, oh, AdWords, let me jot the number down? Or do they say, oh, well, I saw that guy Larry on AdWords, well, he works for this company, and gee, what was his number? Are they gonna remember that? That's what I'm trying to pinpoint.
So-
I think they're gonna go and look
They're gonna
online,
search.
and when they see his face, they're gonna recognize it, cause they see it all the time.
Well, where are they gonna look online?
Well, I think the
where
more,
they look
I think
online,
the
there are
more
thousands
likely
of agents.
scenario
People
is
go on
that,
Zillow.
is that you have, you know thousands and thousands of people, right? You casually know them. You talk to somebody once every 2 years, you see them at a certain event or something. And then all of a sudden you see them and they say, oh, hey, I just bought a house. And you're like, what the F? Why didn't you call me? Right? Like that's what you're thinking in your head. But AdWorks is that tool that person whose email address you have, because they keep seeing your face over and over and they already know you, the people who are already in your circle, you're staying top of mind.
I've
So-
had people
Right.
call up old
I told Lauren, when I get back, I'm off next week, when I get back, I want to sit down with the three of you and reevaluate what we used to do with Commissions Inc.
Okay.
There's too much money sitting in there
For
to
the
go to waste.
calls and stuff,
For the text thing he brought up stirred something in my head.
to send them all out at once.
A way to do it. So I want to sit down with you guys and pitch you my thoughts, hear your objections, and build something that works that's beneficial to both of us. So it was interesting going through that with the people who are in the room. And it's funny because you see there's a big age range from youngest to oldest. There's production level differences from very high to successful. But the mindsets and the overlap and how things change. So, as one of the, I guess I'm in the middle third of age in that room, maybe a little closer to higher, the older half. But to see where the arguments get a little heated and the confusion kicks in for some people, and trying to get through, help people with that paradigm shift of why certain things work and why they don't, and why they work for some people and don't work for other people. It's very interesting. It's a strange business, but it fascinates me. Let's see. I've got a small business that I've been going back and forth with that does garbage removal, house cleanouts. I want to try to get a conversation with them to see if we can get something on the schedule to do them as a feature business. And then I've got some new leads I want to follow up with, and then I've got a client who's looking for a rental somewhat urgently, so I've got to call a couple listing agents to see availability for some apartments. And then if all goes well, before we leave for our next meeting, I'll get one of my agents to jump on board with that and run with that client. And then at 4 o'clock, we got an appointment with a potential administrative hire for the company that I've been going back and forth with for a couple months, who's actually licensed, and her license is with our company, but she's not employed as an employee with us yet. And she's got no real estate experience. So we're trying to figure out how to bring her on board, leverage her administrative skills, and then transition her into sales over the next couple months and or years.
Hello?
Hi, is this Ann?
Yeah.
Ann, Dean from DeanMiller Real Estate. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks. Your rental at 178 Jefferson in Roslyn Heights, still available?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
How do I go about showing that?
When did you want to do it?
That's
tomorrow?
still to be determined. Probably tomorrow evening would be my guess.
Okay, just text me and I'll meet you there.
So you'll meet us? Okay. I'll get back to you as soon as we have a little more info.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Daniel Gill Sotheby's. This is Barbara.
Hey, Barbara. Dean from Miller Realty Group. Your rental listing, 27 West Drive in Port Washington. Is it still available?
Yes, it is.
How do I show that?
Okay, hold on. I gotta make the appointment for you.
I'm just trying to get an idea before I set it. I don't have a confirmed time yet.
All right. You can call, make the appointment with the office, and then you have to speak to the listing agent, Diane.
Okay.
You have her number there.
Diane is 917. Yep, I got it.
Where is she? Yeah, she's got the key. She'll have to accompany, but it is still available, and that's how you'd get it. But we'd like to have the appointment listed in our showtime anyhow.
As soon as I get a clue, I'll get back to you.
Very good.
Thank you. Well, that's good. The team's on board. I got one taking care of a client on the rental side, on the tenant side, and one taking care of a client on the landlord side. And then my listings are all up to date with my travel, so they're all good and covered for the week. I got my partner in the Hamptons and in the city covering that. We're good to go. I can go on vacation with a clear conscience and not have to worry about anything. All right, next stop of the day, we're here in Deer Park. We're gonna have a meeting at a local Starbucks with a prospective administrative partner / future agent operator. So we've been going back and forth for a couple weeks trying to negotiate some terms and some ideas and see where we can bring some value to her. And we're gonna go have a cup of coffee, or I'm gonna have a cup of tea and a conversation, see what we can do to make something happen. My interviewing style has always been a little bit different. I'm not one to sit across the desk all the time. I like to be in different environments, get the people to be comfortable, because I come across when we operate in a very non-threatening way, so I don't want people feeling stuffy and corporate. The goal is to engage with people, to kind of learn what drives them, what motivates them, what makes them want to be part of this. I always love hearing the lines from people. I kind of try to work my way into it, where someone says they want to be part of something bigger than themselves as the individual. You give me that line, there's a 99% chance I would hire almost anybody, because we look at team culture and teamwork and core values and things like that. So one of my keys to an interview is know your vision, know your mission, know your company's core values. We hire to our core values. We will also fire to our core values. It's not easy to say. So if you live in that same mindset of how we do things and what we feel is important, then there's usually a very good chance for success. And if you're not the kind of person who believes in that, there's probably a good chance that we'd fail. So we typically would not hire somebody like that. So let's go meet up and we'll see what happens.
Gangster.
Hello there. How are you? How you doing? Good to see you again. You know, I've always looked at this business and said to people say, well, you know, I don't like my split. You know, I'm only getting 60-40 or I'm only getting 80-20. And my response is, well, what are you getting in exchange for that? And if you're getting something of value and you're not taking advantage of it, then you're foolish. What should you do? You want to raise? Go sell more expensive houses. Charge more commission. Stop giving it away so easily. You know, you could give yourself a 50% raise a year and sell the exact same number of houses by selling houses that are $50,000 more and charging what you're truly worth, as opposed to saying, well, here's what's acceptable within the industry right now, I'll just take what they'll give us. It drives me nuts when I see commissions getting cut because people are afraid to lose the business. I'm going the other way. I want to raise ours. I want to get to the point where we're making 25% more than what used to be acceptable, which would probably be, you know, 65-70% more than what the average one's making right now, because I believe we're worth it. You know, I don't say that just for the sake of making more money. I believe what we do is worth more than anybody else out there can offer. You know, the marketing, the advertising, the systems, the time, the effort, the tools we use, the success that we have. You know, in a normal market, when I'm working in the sales business, I've always prided myself in the fact that I've always had an average time on the market that's significantly lower than the norm. Now, I've been at it a game to really master it right now, but we still have the same tools and we can do it. So when someone says, well, you should take a pay cut because it only took you X amount of days, my response immediately is, no, I really should be getting a raise. And I love using the line all the time, do you want to list your house for sale or do you want to sell it? If you want to list it, please don't hire me. If you want to sell it, pack your stuff and get out, because I'm going to get it done for you. And again, I'll run you through our machine to show you what we're doing, and I'll show you some of the other things that other people are doing, because by joining us, I'm going to put you in a group with about 25 to 40, depending on the week, other agents all across the country. And we literally share our ideas, and we pick and choose what works from everybody, and we test it out. You know, what works here might not work in DC, but it may work down in Southern Florida. So we're watching what each other does on a regular basis. I want to get it to the point where your business persona becomes a celebrity, so that everybody you know and everybody who knows everybody you know knows when you think real estate, you think Dean, then you think Miriam, then you think Kyle and Maria. And that's why I've got him trailing me with the camera, to say, let me get comfortable with this system, because eventually to say, hey, you're going out to do something today, let's document your day. Let's get creative in how we package it and present it, but just go do you. And talk to the camera once in a while and say, hey, this is what I'm doing today. Come along for the ride. You know, have that Mr. Rogers moment. Come on in. And then engage with people and tell your story through documenting exactly what you do. And then we take that content and we use it strategically all over social media. I mean, I'm starting to dive into the LinkedIn world, because I think that may be where one of the biggest opportunities for us exists, is in dealing with other professionals in LinkedIn. And saying, here's the content we produce and how we operate and what value we bring to the table every single day. I'm doing it right now to create the muscle memory for me, to create the habit. Okay. So why am I putting this out there? Why am I creating this? In the beginning, I'm doing it just to make myself comfortable doing it. And I would hope that inside of a couple months of doing it, I can then take that and put it in a position to say, okay, how are we going to leverage this to create opportunities, to create revenue, to create benefit from people, for people, you know, and to make a positive difference, to go back to, again, our core values and why we do what we do. And our mission is to make a difference. And like I've said before, to leave, you know, figure out a way to leave the place better than it was when we found it. And if we can do that and have that impact, you know, and hire people and create jobs, you know, I'm never going to employ 100,000 people. But if I can create 5, 10, 15 jobs for now in the next 2 years, like legitimate jobs, and then have 20, 30 salespeople who are quote unquote employed by us, even though they're independent contractors, I could have a positive impact on 50 families' lives right under the roof of my own company. And if each of those people is the average of what I hope for everybody, that's 500 transactions, 1,000 families a year that we're having a positive impact on. Off of those 1,000 people we're helping, we're gonna make a good amount of money. But even if you looked at it and said 1,000 people, with an average commission on Long Island being, just use 10,000 as the round number, you do the math, you take 10% of that and give it away, we can go out there and, you know, buy buildings and houses to put homeless vets in and help them get back on their feet and establish a place where they're comfortable and productive contributing members of society the way that they want to be, as opposed to being treated like crap and kicked to the curb and not having a place to live. So that's my rant, I'm sticking to it.